What doesn't kill you makes you stronger on today's episode.
You are listening to the Champion Hustle podcast. Play to succeed in business and in life. Featuring Levi Hunsaker and Ryan Black.
Hello, friends, and welcome to the Champion Hustle podcast. This is episode number 44. My name is Ryan Black.
And my name is Levi Hunsaker. How you doing today, Ryan?
Levi, you look different.
You look different.
The computer looks different. What's going on here? I'm
It's
confused.
all looking different. So for those of you that are checking us out on YouTube and Facebook, you're going to see a little bit different video today. We're trying out a new recording platform. So why don't you guys tell us what you think about it? And, let's see, do you like it better? Do you like it worse? Is it the same? It doesn't matter. So we're going to try it out and see how we like it.
Yeah, it's got some cool functionality that's going to allow us in the future to implement live streaming as well as live audience interaction. Really cool live Q&A stuff we've wanted to implement. We just weren't on the right platform to be able to do it. So we're hoping that this will fit the bill, and we do appreciate your feedback on it. Now, I know before we dive into today's topic, I know we do want to throw out a quick shout out again about our Make Profits Again Summit coming up May 19th through 22nd. And where is it again, Levi, that folks, if they want to get more details on that, how can they get more?
The best part is this is all online. So go ahead, go to championhustle.com/summit, and you'll get all the information, and you can actually sign up for it. And our gift to you is you can do it absolutely free, but you got to show up.
Yep. Yeah, because the content, it will only be available the day that it's broadcast.
Yep. So you got to be there.
Yep.
We're going to be there.
Oh, yeah. We're going to be there, and we're looking forward to it. So more details. I know we've talked about it in more depth on previous episodes. If this is the first time you're hearing about it, just go to the URL Levi said, championhustle.com/summit, and you get all the awesome details on how you can make profits again in your business, and with 4 powerful days of incredible training.
Yep. I'm excited. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah. Hey, learn from the best, right?
I would even say epic.
Oh, it will be indeed epic. You know what else is epic? Is when something happens to you and it doesn't kill you and it makes you stronger. That's also epic.
So that is epic. A lot of people hear this phrase and they think, oh, that's so cliche. I don't want to hear that again. And we're going to add a little tweak to it. So it's what doesn't kill you makes you stronger if you let it.
And I think that's an important addition, because a lot of people, we've talked about failure on past episodes, right? Fear of failure and what to do with failure, how to use failure to empower ourselves to launch ourselves forward. But, when we're talking about what kills you, it could be a lot of things. It could come from a lot of different areas in life. Maybe it's business related. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's from somewhere else. But whatever that failure is, if you allow it, it will be a growing experience for you. It will serve you in a good way. And you may be thinking, oh, well, this happened or that happened or this situation, that can't serve me. I beg to differ. It can serve you if you allow it. It doesn't matter what it is.
So coming from an engineering background, I look at this and it's like, well, what's the practical sense of this? It's like, I don't get into the fluffy topic. I don't like the I guess the idea that, there's this kind of ethereal concept out there and I don't even know what to do with it. So what I really like to think about is, okay, something happened to me. I can either commiserate and just be miserable, or I can take that experience and learn how to level up, learn how to take something from it and do something better the next time. So coming from a practical application, that's really the way that I like to think about it, because the idea of it just being this fluffy concept No, we want to actually take something useful and do something different the next time.
Yeah. Well, and it's also important too when you're, not just accepting whatever the failure or the challenge or the tragedy or whatever it is that comes along, is giving gratitude for that. And that can be really hard. That can be really difficult, and easier said than done, as the saying goes.
Yes, it is.
But we talk so much about mindset because that really is at the core of living the champion hustle. Is the right mindset. While it may hurt in the moment and may not be the desired outcome, if you have gratitude for it, it makes that shift that you're talking about, where you truly take something, find a practical application in a way that it can benefit you regardless, and it makes you stronger and makes you better in whatever ways you need. So
yeah, I mean, ultimately there's a lot of things that are way far outside of your control, and you can let that impact you in a negative way, or you can let that impact you in a positive way by focusing on the things that you can control. You don't always get to control what happens to you, but how you respond to it, how you react to it, that is completely in your control.
Yeah. And we do prefer to respond, because reactions is reactionary. We don't want to have a knee-jerk reaction. We want to respond calmly, coolly, collectively, and in the right way. One analogy that I like to use, kind of in thinking about this, is when we're looking at failure, or looking at simply things that are hard. I don't want to limit it to failure, because there are, this is unique. Everybody's in a different situation. They have different, history and life challenges and things that they've gone through, or things that they're going through in this moment. So whatever it is that where you're at, whatever challenge it is that you're facing, that you're saying, man, this is going to kill me, apply that to as you're listening to this episode. But in exercise, when you're lifting weights, the only way that you can strengthen, let's say you're trying to lift weights to try to build muscle mass, the only way that you can do that is by continuing to obviously lift weights to increase muscle mass. But what are you actually doing? You are tearing down the muscle fibers and the tissues. And when the fibers are being rebuilt, when they're being regenerated, that's when they grow back bigger. So in order to level up, in order to become stronger and better, the only way that happens is by damage being done. You have to damage those fibers. And so, I think sometimes in business and in life, we're like, let's take the easy road and then let's have some growth. It don't work that way, bub. We've got to, remember that, hey, sometimes life throws us a curveball, and we've got to grab the bull by the horns and really be able to embrace it and take it for what it is. Take that little bit of pain, because it's going to permit us to grow moving forward.
Yeah, and that little bit of pain, I think it's interesting that you say that. Really, you can have the easy way, or you can have growth, but you can't have both. So choose. And life is hard. You can choose the hard that you're in right now, or you can choose the hard of creating something different, creating something that's on another level. Just choose your hard. And as you're doing that, the biggest thing to do is make a choice to have gratitude, because that's going to make all the difference in the world right up here in the 6 inches between your ears.
I want to expound on that. I'm glad that you brought that up. Choose your hard, because that is a concept that I think a lot of people, unfortunately, in this world, they don't want to even think about or accept. Can you elaborate a little bit on that, on the choose your hard? Because that principle is extremely empowering.
Well, so think about maybe a time before you got started in business, where you were just kind of working for somebody else, being complacent, having, somebody else telling you maybe what to do, or maybe not having the income level that you were wanting. That's a level of hard. And you choose it every day by what you defend. If you defend what's giving you the results that you have, well, you're going to continue getting those same results. If instead you defend your new path, your new branding, your new thing that you want to be known for, and you are spending every day creating, leveling up, trying to provide value for your marketplace, for the world, for your community, that is a different choice. And building a business, it's not easy. It is hard. So either way, you're going to choose your hard. Are you going to choose to stay stuck in the hard that you're in, or are you going to choose to create a different path? And the hard is getting kind of stuck, kind of climbing out of the rut that you've kind of built for yourself.
Well, and the thing that makes it even more complicated, right, is naturally we are averse to change. We don't like change. Change is hard, it's difficult, it's scary.
Creatures of habit.
Yeah, we're creatures of habit. And, talking about scary things, fear, I know, can play a big role in these things. How do you think, how does fear relate into, what we're talking about today? What doesn't kill you make you stronger. Is it good? Is it bad?
So fear is a funny thing. I don't know if you guys have heard, I'm trying to think who it is. I actually just watched some videos on it recently about the croc brain.
Oh yeah.
And I'm not even remembering the technical terms here, but let's jump into this, because that croc brain is where you actually have your fight or flight response, or I guess I've heard it called lizard brain as well.
Yeah.
But that fight or flight response, you have a similar response to fear, whether it's real or whether it's imagined, as you do to actually being in danger. So as you're going, that fear is actually a good thing, because you're I guess inherent in your brain, in your DNA, and everything about you want to survive. And that fear sometimes can be a survival mechanism, and it can be a benefit, or it can kind of get you into a place of complacency where you don't want to put yourself out there. You don't want to try something new. And really, fear can be a great motivator if you let it. A lot of successful people actually created that success with their backs up against the wall. They started with no other options, and they had to be successful just to survive.
Yeah, one of my favorite, I don't listen to a lot of, like the motivational speeches and things, but from time to time I do. And, one of my favorites, absolute favorites, and I'm sure you've probably seen it as well, is from good old Arnold Schwarzenegger. It is a speech that he gave several years ago where he talked about having no plan B. And he goes through and talks about how, through his bodybuilding career, his acting career, his political career, all the different things that he has gone through in life and excelled at, how he said, I had no plan B. It was this or this. It had to work. I had to make it, and I wasn't going to stop. It's about a 10-minute speech. And I really love the perspective and from someone who's seen success in many different areas in life. So if you haven't had a chance to watch that, I would invite you. It's Arnold's. We can throw a link in the show notes.
Yeah.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, No Plan B. It's a great little motivational speech that just do it.
Yeah, and what a great example of overcoming your fear. Coming here, really getting into a sport that doesn't require much speaking at all, because he couldn't even speak the English language at first. Then going into movies where all that mattered was, physique, and then eventually kind of got into speaking roles.
Right.
And and then became a governor of California. So, just success on top of success. And that is kind of a momentum train. But it all started by taking that fear, and he had two options. At the time that fear came up, he could have decided to turn around and run from the fear, or to turn and face the fear head on. that's really what we have, is we have those two options every single time. Or I guess what you could do is you could be a fainting goat and just pass out and fall over. But
That sounds fun.
I love those videos of the fainting goats. Makes me laugh every time. But, it's back to that choose your hard. You can choose to run. Running's not always easy. But you can also choose to turn and face your fear. And that's not easy either. And so, it's just one of those things where if you choose to turn and face your fear, that is the first step to overcoming it. Right. And that doesn't mean it goes away. And that doesn't mean that you don't feel the anxiety and the pressure and everything that comes along with that fear, even, multiple after doing it dozens of times, like getting up and presenting, you still get that, anxiety and kind of that little bit of panic feeling before you go on to stage. Ryan, you've done some presenting. I've done some presenting as well. And honestly, it doesn't go away, but you can actually use that as motivation and energy into the speech that you're going to be giving instead of letting it control you. But the second part of that, after you face it, you've got to actually understand why you're actually afraid of that thing, or I maybe not even afraid, but hesitant. What is holding you back from moving forward? Sometimes that is something that's triggered by your environment or your history, your relationships. Sometimes it's triggered by just being afraid that you're actually going to be successful, which is sometimes a funny thing to think about, that, man, why am I afraid of being successful? Well, there's a lot of reasons. Yeah. Have you ever felt that, Ryan?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but I think that's a conversation for another episode.
Yes, it is.
That can be a hairy one. But yeah, a lot of people, I've seen firsthand people who say they want to succeed, but they have fear of being successful and they don't feel that they're worthy of success. And that is what is holding them back, which is sad, but it's very, very real.
Yeah, and I mean, ultimately, that's another reason why we focus so hard on mindset in business and personal life, because honestly, business is life. When you are an entrepreneur, you are your business. And if you are not feeling healthy in your body or in your mind or in your emotional state or in your relationships, all of these things are kind of intertwined together, and they affect one another. So you've got to be healthy in your mind first so that you can kind of feed all of these other aspects of your life and your business.
Yeah, a lot of times I think people, we try to separate them. Oh, that's the home life, and that's the business, and that's this and that's that. You're one person, unless you have multiple personalities. You're one person, and so it's all going to be connected. You can't disconnect those.
I've tried.
Yeah.
And it honestly, it just leads to disarray everywhere.
Yeah. It doesn't work. Maybe in theory, but in practical application, it doesn't work. So can we do kind of like maybe like an exercise for our listeners here, or viewers, right? For those awesome folks who like looking at our ugly mugs on the show. Let's go through and have, guys and gals, think about one thing, one type of a setback or a challenge or a failure or something that's just really weighing on you right now. You're saying, okay, I've got to turn this and make this to empower me versus being a drain on me. So, think about that, identify what it is, pause if you need to take a minute to reflect. Just pause the recording and think about it. Once you have it, let's get it out in front. Let's kind of visualize, do a little visualization, and look at it. What does it look like? What does it make you feel? What does it smell like? What does it taste like? Right? What is it? Large? Is it small? Is it heavy? Is it light? What color is it? And so create a visual description of what it is. And sometimes, right, if it's a person, that's that's pretty easy. But sometimes they're more ethereal, or that's more difficult to describe. So you want to create a physicality for whatever it is that you've got on your plate. Once you've got that defined, now you have something that you can interact with. Because it's hard if we're talking about things that are just conceptual, it's really, really hard. So now that you have something that you can see and sense and feel in all of your different, 5 senses, time to ask yourself a few questions, right? The first one would be, is this thing, person, challenge, situation, is it your friend? Can it be your friend? Can it help you? And you've got to sit there. If your answer is no, you've got to sit there and think until you figure out how it can be. So you're going to be pausing this episode a lot.
Yeah.
Figure out.
So that concept is your setback, is your challenge, is that your friend? Like that's just kind of a weird concept. And so some of you out there, I mean, there were times when my mindset wasn't right, when I would just see a setback and be angry. Well, that's not my friend. No, I don't want that anywhere near me. But that's because I was not in a mindset of growth. I was just happy being stuck in my rut. And I think it was Ellen Glasgow that said the only difference between a rut and a grave is the depth. So don't be stuck in the rut. Don't be stuck in the grave, because mentally, physically, emotionally, you could actually, you've got one foot in the grave when you're kind of stuck in that one place. Step out of that, get in the growth mindset, and, really look at how you can turn that setback into a positive thing. And that doesn't mean that you have to be happy about it. No. But it does mean that you can figure out how it can help you moving forward. How can you make it your friend? What you learn from that, how is it your friend?
What's another question that we want them to ask themselves in this exercise?
Another question that you've got to look at is, well, what can I take away from this? The idea of experience is just that. Experience means nothing if you don't do anything with it. So you can waste an experience, or you can figure out what you can learn from it and how you can kind of step that level up a little bit. Take it to the next level, up your game, and really level up your business.
Another question I think that's important that you ask yourself is this temporary or is this permanent? I would venture to say that most situations are going to be temporary, right? If it was an event, it was something that happened, it's over, it's done, the past is in the past. It still may hurt, it still may affect you, it still may, right, impact your business or your relationships or whatever it is that you're looking at. But typically it's temporary. Now there are certain things that will be permanent, right? Maybe you had some type of an accident that had a permanent impact on your physical abilities, right? And that's now changing what you're able to do. And there's no going back from it. Okay? So if it is a permanent change, are you going to adapt, or are you going to throw a pity party? And it may sound harsh, but if something is a permanent change that there's no rewinding it, this is where review the title of the episode, please. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Well, choose your hard. It's coming back to that theme of choose your hard. Being stuck in a pity party is a different kind of hard than adapting and overcoming a challenge or setback like that. They're just different. And you've got to decide what you want to be your life. Do you want to feel stuck and wallowing in self-pity and misery? Or are you going to figure out how to move forward? I've worked with many people that have been in wheelchairs and things like that, and they don't let that define them. It is a challenge, and right. Yes, they have to do things a little bit differently, but it doesn't necessarily have anything to do with who they are as a person.
And the pity parties, those are usually pretty boring. I mean, a party sounds fun, right? But maybe we need to change the vernacular on that one. But the pity parties, not a party you want to go to.
No, not my kind of party. So ultimately, it all comes down to this. The knowledge you gain, the wisdom you gain, the experience you gain from it doesn't even have to be setbacks, but honestly, you learn a lot more from your setbacks than you do from your successes, if you let it. So make sure you take that knowledge and don't go repeat the same mistakes again.
So the question I would say for our listeners to ask themselves is, what lessons can I learn from this, or will I learn from this? What knowledge can I acquire? What experience can I chalk up on my belt because of this? And how will all of this knowledge, experience, wisdom, information, how will it empower me and strengthen me moving forward? And if you can't find a clear answer to that, restart the episode back at the beginning and try it again. Because I mean, I know, I've had challenges in my life. Levi, I know you've had challenges. We've all had challenges, and they're all unique. But what's important is the mindset. And that's what we're really trying to hammer in for you guys today, is the mindset of what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And whether it's something huge or something small, it can be done. And once you have that ability, that skill set to be able to truly face it, it doesn't really matter what happens, because you're able to overcome and become stronger regardless of the situation.
Yeah. And as you're talking about that, I'm kind of thinking, well, everybody has similar opportunities. Yeah. Now, that doesn't mean we have the same opportunities, because we all have a different starting point. But the awesome thing is, you are not stuck where you are at. You have the ability to change. You have the ability to move, but you've got to choose to do the work. You've got to pick yourself up and move. And that doesn't mean that you're going to have the same outcome as anybody else, but it does mean that we all have an opportunity to stand up, decide we want something different, and go out and get it. Go out and create it. Go out and create the success that we're looking for. Now, the challenge that we've got with that is a lot of people see success as this straight line of constant, continual improvement. And that's not how success works at all, because you've got to first develop into the person that's going to achieve the success. I mean, we've had episodes on this before. Sometimes a year plus in advance of actually reaching the success. Yeah. So you've got to become the person first by continual growth and development, and then the success will follow. But I've heard it said best in the book Atomic Habits by James Clear. In the book, he talks about what this success cycle looks like. And a lot of people think it's that straight line moving upwards, continually moving upwards towards success. Man, I can't even talk today. But then he shows another graph where it's kind of this curve that sits below that line, where it's just kind of hanging out below, but then it shoots up once the momentum starts building. Yeah. And that momentum continues to carry things forward. That's why you see people that are successful continue to be more and more successful, because that momentum grows as long as they continue to keep working. But they learn how to continue, or how to work in a successful way, and then it just kind of is a snowball effect. But the problem is that little valley below what the expectation is and what reality is, that's where a lot of people get stuck. And James Clear, in the book, he calls it the valley of disappointment. And because you're not seeing the results that you would hope to see based on all the work and effort that you're putting in. And it's kind of a funny story. I was talking to my wife, and we were talking about this, and I said, well, it's the valley of despair. And nobody wants to be stuck in despair. Nobody wants to be stuck in that valley of despair. It's actually valley of disappointment. But she just looked at me and she's like, man, that sounds pretty dark. No, nobody wants to talk about despair, but let's talk about the valley of disappointment, because the people that are successful just held out longer than anybody else.
Yep. They've been through many more of those valleys.
Many moons.
Yes. Many moons they've been walking. Well, I think I don't have anything else to say. Levi, do you have any final words?
Oh, final words? Just a last reminder. This Make Profits Again Summit is going to be incredible for your business. You want to get out there and participate with us, because this offer of it being free, this is a one-time. It's May 19th through the 22nd. You can get access to this content. Over 30 amazing business owners. We were just told that Steve Sims that wrote the book Bluefishing is coming in, and so that's a new addition to the lineup. And so this summit is just getting better and better every single day. You don't want to miss it. So just make sure you get out there to championhustle.com/summit to get access. And
to tie this into what we've been talking about today, you and I mean, we personally know really well a lot of these instructors. A lot of these people, this whole doesn't kill you, makes you stronger. They have lived it. Sometimes
multiple times.
Yeah, you look on their passports, that whole little valley of despair. Oh, they've got some frequent
stamps.
Yeah, frequent flyer miles. They've earned quite a few miles walking through those valleys. And so, I mean, I think it's always inspirational, right? Not only, in this summit are we going to be able to receive phenomenal business training, but we're going to be able to learn from people who have not just talked the talk, but walked the walk, and have been through it, and have been through, obviously the last year, which has been, interesting and challenging, but, have seen lots of different challenges and curveballs, and made it through and continue to grow, continue to flourish. And so, yeah, really, really excited. It all relates. It all comes together. It may feel like sometimes, and I know we've said this before, a long time ago we said this, sometimes as you guys listen to these episodes, you may think, man, this is like really sporadic what they're talking about. Trust us. It all relates together. It all comes together. There is cohesion here. If you keep the same mindset, it'll click. And you'll see, oh, that's why they said this. Yes, that's why. So next week, we have got a great episode for you. Next week, we're going to be covering how to increase profit in your business without creating any new products or services.
What? Boost the bottom line.
Oh, yeah. So we'll look forward to seeing you then. Once again, championhustle.com is the place to go if you want to, subscribe on any of the platforms that we're on, as well as find out more information about us, or sign up for the upcoming Make Profits Again Summit at championhustle.com/summit.
Yep. And that's what we got for you. So thanks for joining in with us today. And have a great week, everybody.
See you guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Champion Hustle podcast. For more great content and to join our online community, visit us at championhustle.com.